Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. This is the 44th part of What If Deku Can't Stop Adopting Kids. Hope you enjoy. Link to the original story and author in the description. Chapter 237, Power UPS. So what did you want us for? Ken asked as he and Nara stood in a testing field at the lab. Well, there were two new developments. Firstly, we found a way to shrink fractals. And second, Mr. Midoriya wanted us to design things that would increase your levels of power. Mai explained, as two scientists came up behind her, holding two boxes. Hence these new Omnitrix models. The scientists opened the boxes, and in them were two new Omnitrixes. These have a new function. The fusion feature. Mai picked up one of the Omnitrixes. Just press the secondary button, and you'll go to the fusion menu, activating the fusion fractal held within. Then you both select and transform, and when you transform, the two of you will fuse together to create an even more powerful transformation that combines both powers. Fuse. Both of them shouted out in shock and slight disgust. Why would I want to share a body with him? Nara scoffed. I think I'd rather fight someone without my transformation. Ken gagged. Oh? So if your options were fusing, or both of you getting killed by villains, you'd rather die? Mai asked. Both of them went quiet and made resigned expressions. Fine. I'll try it out. Nara huffed. But I won't like a second of it, Ken grumbled, crossing his arms as he pouted. Thank you both for your sacrifice, Mai said half sarcastically. Now let's get these things on you. XXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXX. Ken and Nara inspected the new Omnitrixes. They looked the same for the most part. The only difference being the second button. All right. Now remember there are a couple of drawbacks with this. Mai said. First, you can only use these features when you two are within a half-a-mile radius of each other. Any further and you'll be too far to fuse. And you can only use a fusion transformation for 10 minutes a day. Meaning you get one shot. What the hell is this? Ken shouted. On his Omnitrix, he noticed a new silhouette. The one for Ghost Freak. Right. Given the situations, you've been in it. We thought it was necessary to at least have that transformation available. Mai explained, wincing slightly at Ken's enraged expression. You remember what happened on Monstra, right? How could he forget? That monster had completely overpowered him and everyone else. Maybe if he'd used Ghost Freak he could have made a difference. Grrrrrr, Ken growled. He hated the idea. But it wasn't wrong. He quickly moved to a different silhouette. Let's just get this over with already. Let's just go with Heat Blast and whatever you're gonna pick. Alright. Let's try Wildvine. Nara said as she selected that transformation. Fire and plants don't mix, genius. Ken pointed out. Yeah, I know. That's why I'm curious what this transformation will be like. Nara said as she rolled her eyes. Now let's just do this already. Right, Ken said. They both slammed down on the dials, but instead of transforming immediately, their Omnitrixes just glowed blue, before suddenly they were both forced towards each other, the Omnitrix pulling their bodies together, and once they touched, they were engulfed in a blue glow. When the glow subsided, in the two kids' place, was one new transformation. It was a humanoid plant creature, with a mostly green body, with some black parts on their sides and neck. On their head was a red and yellow plant that looked kind of like fire, and on their arms were some red growths. Lastly, their feet seemed to be roots. The new creature looked over its body, and two voices came out of its mouth. This feels so weird. Am I Ken? Nara? I guess I'm both. Okay, so human intelligence didn't affect the mind merging, Mai said as she wrote something down on her notepad. Alright. Let's get started, we only have so much time to remember. Please begin testing your abilities. Alright. Now how do I dash? As the fusion tried to figure out what to do, suddenly holes opened up in their hands, and a green gas started pouring out of them rapidly. Okay. What is this? My sniffed the air, and immediately her nose scrunched. That's methane. It's very dash. Whoosh. Suddenly the creature shot off a spark, and all the methane exploded, causing everything around them to burst into flames. Including the new creature themselves. Ah! I'm fired. I'm on fire. The creature said as they ran out of the flames, and started trying to put themselves out by running around in a panic. Flammable. My side. This is gonna take a while. XXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXX. So you said there was a power-up item for us? Now it was Yaba, G, and Inu's turn to stand in the field. That's right, Mai said, as 3 scientists walked up behind her. Holding some strange-looking chokers. Since you all get more powerful the closer you guys are. We thought about giving you the same kind of treatment Ken and Nara got, but using the fusion fractal. I see. Since we get more powerful the closer we get, by sharing a body we'd get even stronger. G brought up. Interesting. That's not all. Fusing naturally makes things stronger, so combined with your quirk could lead to exponential power growth. Mai said. So we'd get a crap ton stronger is what you're saying. Yaba said, smirking as she took the choker. I like the sound of that. Come on girls, let's fuse. Okay. Inu was unsure of this whole fusing thing, but more power couldn't hurt. As all of them put on the chokers, Mai finished explaining. The collars are designed to diffuse you after 10 minutes, and you won't be able to fuse more than once a day. So make sure to use this only if necessary. Got it, Doc, Yaba said as they all finished putting on the chokers. So how do we turn it on? All of you just need to touch the center of the choker at the same time. You do have to be within a half a mile radius, but that shouldn't be a problem for all of you. Right, Yaba said, as she and the others touched the choker at the same time. The chokers glowed blue, and all 3 of them were dragged towards each other, before erupting into a massive blue light. When the light died down, instead of 3 girls, there was 1. Rather than a child though, the girl looked to be in her teens, around the same age as Izuku. Fortunately, the fusion fused their clothes together as well, meaning that despite the sudden growth, they weren't naked. Since all the girls shared the same appearance, the new fusion looked pretty much like a grown-up version of any of them, with G's tail. So this fusion? The new girl said as she looked down at her new body. Why am I older? Mai shrugged. Gonna need to research that later. Squoop. Suddenly a beam of light came down into the field, and Protoman appeared. Doctor, sorry for the delay, but I'm finally here. Perfect timing, Proto. You can test the power of this new fusion here. Mai said. What do you say, girls? Well, first I say I need a name. The fusion said. How about Cerberus? Yeah, that works. As for a fight. Sure. I'd love to test out this new body. Protoman sighed. Of course, it was a fight. Alright, come at me when you're ready. Alrighty then. Let's see how this works. Cerberus said, before shooting out just a massive wave of blue fire from her mouth, heading right at Protoman. Protoman quickly put up his shield, protecting him from direct exposure to the flames. If I keep standing here I'm going to shit down from overheating. Squoop. Protoman turned into a beam, and appeared behind Cerberus, immediately blocking a punch from her that sent him skidding backward. Cerberus rushed forward with incredible speed, and grabbed the side of his shield, moving it to the side so she could punch him, only to get punched in the face by Protoman and sent flying back. She flipped in the air, landing on her feet, before having to put up her arms to block the energy shots that Protoman was sending her way. The shots did minimal damage, creating small cuts and burns that healed the instant they formed. This fusion stuff is incredible. Cerberus charged forward through the energy shots and grabbed the shield again. This time she lifted it upwards, forcing Protoman to let go of it, or else he'd have been lifted up as well. She threw the shield to the side, all the while taking tons of point-blank energy shots to the face. Whoosh! Cerberus breathed out a jet of blue flames at Protomon, who rolled to the side to avoid it. Protomon started running away from Cerberus while charging his cannon. Cerberus ran after him, quickly catching up to him and attempting to punch him, only for him to dodge each one. But she managed to land a punch at his back, sending him flying forward on his face. Ha! Cerberus jumped high into the air, before hurtling down towards the fallen Protomon, with her fist caught back, ready to cause some serious damage. Until Protomon rolled, and shot a fully charged shot right at Cerberus. Cerberus! Aha! Cerberus cried out in pain, as she was launched back by the force of the shot. She landed flat on her back, and the shot made a massive wound in her torso and burns all over her body, but by the time she'd hit the ground, she was already healed. Alright, that's enough, Mai said as Cerberus got back up. I think it's clear to say that you've gotten a whole lot stronger. So there's no need to risk damaging Protomon any further. Alright. Cerberus sighed, before looking back down at her body. This power really is incredible. If only we'd had it back when we fought Frisia. We'd have been able to put up a real fight. Well, that's the whole reason we've started making these, Mai explained. Hopefully with this, we won't have to worry about you being in danger ever again. XXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXX Tokoshi, Giza, and Sai were all standing in the lab. Only makes sense, considering we're the ones who are supposed to be fighting, Sai said. Alright, let's make this quick, Mai said, as four scientists stood behind her, holding various things. Sorry first. Your main strength is your incredible speed. So we'll give you this choker, that will triple your speed outright. Ah sweet. Sori grinned ear to ear as she took the choker. Blue Blur eat your heart out. Don't let him hear you say that. Mai sighed, knowing exactly what would happen if these two ever met. A fight. They would fight and nearly kill each other. Anyway, Sai, your main issue is your energy reserves running out whenever you use your portals too much. Which is why we're giving you this special glove that will replenish your energy when you activate it. Thank you. I'll use it well. Sai said as she accepted the glove. Tokoshi, your main issue is your mobility. Hence we've given you this cufflink, containing a fractal with Kurogiri's power. Sai said. Remember to use it carefully. Wait, really, that's awesome, I mean. Thank you, my lady. I will use it well. Tokoshi said, blushing a bit after losing character. Lastly, Giza, your main issue is power. So we're giving you this. A ring that will enhance your body. Nothing too grand, but for someone of your skill it should suffice. Mai said. Thank you, Giza said as he took the ring. Also, we have some more equipment we'd like you to deliver, Mai said. XXXXXXXXXXXXXXX. I really need to learn how to handle my money. MT Lady sighed as she laid down on her couch, lazily eating chips. After she helped with Starro, Izuku had been kind enough to pay off the debt she had and give her a generous sum of money, which she used up. You might wonder how she could spend all that money in such a short amount of time. And that's something MT Lady herself would really like to know. After a few drunk nights out with Kamui and Death Arms, and suddenly all gone. Something tells me that won't happen for quite some time, said Giza as he suddenly loomed over her on the left side of her couch. Gah! MT Lady choked on a chip, in alarm, and quickly sat up. Ack! Shit man, don't scare me like that. Fuck! How did you get in here? I have a gift for you, Giza said, ignoring her question. He threw a pair of horns at her, similar to the horns she used for her hero costume. These are special horns, made with Midoriya technology. It'll basically allow you to use a second quirk, that will give you full control over your body. Including things that would normally be involuntary or uncontrollable. Such as the fact that your growth can only go to max size. Wait, so I can still grow in smaller places? MT Lady said, looking at the horns in awe. Sweet. You may also use it in other ways, but be careful, Giza warned. You don't know what side effects may occur. And don't use it for more than 10 minutes a day. What happens if I use it for more than 10 minutes a day? MT Lady asked. MT Lady looked up and spoke to Giza, only to find that he was gone. Vanished without a trace. MT Lady sighed and laid back down. Fucking ninjas, man. XXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXX At least that's what it looked like. In actuality, he was deep in thought, thinking about his family situation. I apologize for interrupting. Number one hero, said a voice from behind him. Endeavor immediately turned around and aimed his fist at the source of the voice, only to find it was Giza. Oh. It's you. What does Midoriya want from me now? Nothing. He simply wishes to help your efforts in protecting the public, Giza said as he took out a gauntlet from behind his back. Here. This will help you. It contains a special kind of technology that will vastly increase your resistance to heat, although not make you outright immune to it. Also, don't use it for more than 10 minutes a day. What happens if I do? Endeavor asked. Giza shrugged. No one can know. Maybe something good. Probably something horrible. Best not to test it. Endeavor looked at the gauntlet. What kind of technology are you people making? He looked back up, only to find Giza gone. XXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXX. It's been a long time since we've talked, Nizu said as he and Giza sat down in his office, with some nice tea and snacks. How are the turtles? They are growing up fine, Giza said. How are your students? They're growing up fine. Nizu chuckled. I hope Midoriya has been treating you well. He's been keeping me busy, but not overly so, Giza said, sipping his tea. Speaking of which, I have something to give you. It should already be delivered to your special armory. It's special equipment for your staff and students. They should prove useful. Wonderful. Nizu laughed. I was wondering when Midoriya would share his things. Aside from the fruit he gave us. He's still afraid of what technology can do. Rightfully so. Giza said. He's only allowing this because he's more afraid of his enemies now. I understand, I hope the poor boy can truly take a break this time, Nizu said. The last thing we need is him going insane and destroying the world. Giza sighed. The worst part about that sentence is that it is entirely plausible. Chapter 238, Power-Ups Part 2. You sure you want to do this? No shame in backing out now. Gamma 2 said cockily, as he and Achiko stared each other down, ready to fight. Normally this would be done in the forest, however, Izuku was getting tired of having to fix the forest every time someone fought in it, so he had a new facility built. The simulation room, or sim room for short, was a room that could be accessed by an underground stairwell. When one reached the bottom, they would be met with a seemingly infinite white void. This was the simulation room. The room could change its insides to any kind of environment and simulate it perfectly. A city, a volcano, a beach, anything. You could even make custom environments for special training or relaxation. This room was a combination of Midoriya Foundation tech and tech they got from Island that had come from Chloe's negotiations. Had Izuku not had the connections he did, and if he wasn't currently the richest person in the world, building such a thing would be a pipe dream. Currently, the room was simulating the city, and it looked like Achiko and Gamma 2 were standing in the middle of the street. I'm sure. I need to get stronger, Achiko said, with a determined and slightly frustrated look on her face. She hadn't been able to push past 50% of One for All. Like she was stuck. Or there was something she was just missing. I want to go all out during this fight. So don't hold anything back. Well, if those are my orders. Gamma 2 smirked and got into a battle-ready stance. You better prepare yourself. Activate simulation. And then suddenly, everything came to life. People came out of the buildings and started walking on the sidewalks, talking on phones, pushing strollers with babies in them, and there were even couples arguing. Are those people? Achiko asked, shocked by how crowded things got so quickly. Nah, they're just robots. Gamma 2 said. Remember, this is supposed to be a perfect simulation. So people are necessary to simulate a city. And so are cars. Beep beep. Achiko then realized she was standing in the street of a now active city, and judging by that horn she needed to move right now. Activating one for all at 45%. Achiko jumped up, avoiding a speeding car that was just about to run her over. The car was now speeding towards Gamma 2, who took out his gun and aimed at it. Kaboom! The shot slammed into the car, making it explode and send shrapnel flying everywhere, and making the fake crowd stop in shock before they started screaming and running away. What? Achiko didn't expect that sudden shift in tone. You said you wanted hero training. Part of that is making sure the civilians are safe, even when fighting a villain. Gamma 2 said. And so far, not doing a great job. Gamma 2 then aimed his blaster at the fleeing civilians and opened fire. Achiko rushed at the civilians and took the shots, gritting her teeth as the energy shots slammed into her, burning and bruising her skin. Everyone get away. She then flicked an air shot at Gamma 2's blaster, causing his hand to move and shoot at a building instead. Achiko rushed forward to try and attack Gamma 2, but Gamma 2 just jumped back and flew into the air, before unleashing more shots at her. In response, Achiko ran into one of the buildings. Not gonna work. Gamma 2 said as he started shooting the building in specific places, causing it to collapse. Come on, I was expecting more out of you. And then, the collapsed building suddenly burst upwards, the pieces of it rushing at Gamma 2. Whoa! Gamma 2 blasted apart the debris that was flying at him, destroying it before it could hit him. But that was just a distraction. Using the time that Trick bought her, she'd run out of the rubble and snuck up behind Gamma 2, leaping at him from behind, bringing both her arms together and slamming Gamma 2 down into the concrete so hard it made the earth shake. There we go. That's more like it. Gamma 2 grunted as he pulled himself out of the crater, jumping out of it just in time, as Achiko increased her weight and slammed into the ground hard, increasing the depth of the crater and making the ground shake once again. Release. Achiko brought her fingers together, and not only returned her own gravity to normal but also returned to normal the gravity of all the rubble that she'd shot up earlier, which now came raining down on the entire area. Gamma 2 flew up, through the falling rubble, and into the air, and Achiko rushed after him, lunging at him and attempting to grab his foot. Only for Gamma 2 to move his foot back, and blast Achiko square in the face, sending her flying down. Achiko removed her own gravity, turned midair so she could face Gamma 2, and then flicked the air behind her, sending flying back toward Gamma 2. Gamma 2 flew away, and Achiko followed him, flicking the air behind her while her gravity was gone, allowing her to kind of fly at the android. But Gamma 2 was faster, and thanks to his mid-air stabilizers, he had far more maneuverability. He shot at Achiko, who tried her best to dodge them by flocking herself around, but that way of moving was so clunky and awkward, that she didn't have a chance at avoiding all of them. Ag. Achiko cried in pain as the blasts hit all over her body. He's so hard to hit. I have to find a way to get closer. Instead of flicking, she punched the air behind her, sending her rocketing forward at far greater speed. But Gamma 2 reacted to this easily, ducking his entire body under Achiko as she sailed over him, wrapping his legs around her head, flipped them, and them mid-air, and then started rocketing them up, high into the sky, before flipping them downwards and flying down towards the ground at max speed. Achiko fought to try and escape but to no avail. Gamma 2 released Achiko 3/4 of the way down, sending her plummeting headfirst, towards a building. Slam! Achiko tore through the building like a bullet, blasting it apart as she crashed through each level, before coming to a stop as she crashed into the ground with such force, it caused the building to completely collapse on top of her. Gamma 2 meanwhile, did a flashy flip toward the ground, landed on his feet in front of the now destroyed building, and did a flash pose. Behold the power of a Gamma. Half a minute later, the rubble shifted, as Achiko groggily pulled herself out of the debris. Only for Gamma 2 to punch her right in the face, sending her flying back, but before she could get too far away, Gamma 2 grabbed her by the leg. Gamma 2 raised her over his head and then slammed her into the ground. Slam! 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 Again and again, the android would lift her up and slam her back down, creating the ground around him with her face, all while holding his blaster with his other hand and charging it. After half a minute of slams, Gamma 2 lifted her back over his head, spun her around, and then threw her into the air, before lifting his blaster aiming at her. It's over. PEWM. A massive charged shot flew out of Gamma 2's blaster, right at Achiko. But before it could hit her, Achiko managed to regain her senses just a bit, enough to touch herself and increase her gravity, causing her to fall to the ground, and letting the blast sail over her. Dockum! The blast sailed on, before hitting the invisible ceiling and shaking the entire fake city. Oh. Hopefully, that didn't damage the room too much. Gamma 2 winced, already knowing he'd get a dressing down from Gamma 1 if he'd done significant damage to the room. Meanwhile, Achiko slammed into the ground and lay in the crater she'd created. Battered, burned and bruised, and extremely disoriented. Her head and her stomach in particular were killing her. Ugh. I only landed a single hit on him. How am I supposed to beat him if I can't touch him? Achiko felt a deep, burning frustration. How was she supposed to protect the city, her friends, and Izuku and all his kids, if she was losing this miserably? She had All Might's quirk, so why was she struggling so much? This frustration motivated her to push herself up, despite all the pain. If she was going to lose, she'd have to at least lose less pathetically. While she was getting on her feet, Gamma 2 flew above her. Alright, now it's time to end this, for real. As Gamma 2 took out his blaster, but before he could fire, Achiko delivered an open palm strike to the ground around her, removing its gravity and destroying it, causing everything to rise up in a wave of dust and debris. In the veil of this wave, she jumped over to another building behind Gamma 2 and kept at him from behind again. Only to get kicked in the face, and sent flying back by Gamma 2. Head, not gonna work twice. Gamma 2 smirked as he aimed at her. As Gamma 2 was charging the shot and Achiko flew away, everything started to slow down, and Achiko extended her hand out. If only I could just reach him. Then suddenly, the lightning that normally crackled around Achiko's body turned black. And then black energy tendrils flew out of her wrist. The tendrils wrapped around Gamma 2's arm, stopping his attack outright. What the? Ack! More black tendrils rushed at him, hitting him in the chest and sending him flying into a building. What is this? Achiko gasped as tendrils kept pouring out of her wrist, getting longer and wider, and wildly rampaging about. Slamming into everything around her, leaving destruction in their wake, and flailing Achiko around like a ragdoll. Whoa! 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 How did I turn this off? Well, first you gotta calm down, said a gruff voice in her head. Huh? Who are you? Why are you in my head? What's even happening? Achiko shouted out in confusion. I told you to calm down. The voice yelled frustratedly. My quirk isn't what it used to be. One for All has powered it up a crap ton. If you don't cool your jets, you're just gonna keep destroying everything around you. Oh, okay, weird voice in my head, Achiko said. Why can't my life be normal for 5 minutes? She took a deep breath and tried to calm herself. Think about calming things. Nice things. Playing with the kids. Eating mochi with Izuku. Going out shopping. Calm down, Achiko. It took a minute, but slowly, very slowly, the black tendrils started to calm and stop running rampant. Eventually, the energy tendrils started to fade away, until they were finally gone, and Achiko started falling to the ground. Gamma 2 caught her in his arms before she landed. Alright, I think it's safe to say this sparring session is over. Yeah. Achiko groaned. She felt so much more tired than she did a moment ago for some reason. Perhaps it had something to do with those strange black things. Ugh. What was that? Why are you asking me? Just because I'm an android doesn't mean I know everything. Gamma 2 said. But I do know someone who does. Let's go see the doctor, shall we? Yeah, let's, Achiko said, before letting herself finally pass out. XXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXX. When Achiko opened her eyes, she wasn't in a bed or a lab. But instead, she found herself in a black void, staring at 8 thrones. On those thrones were people. One of them looked kind of like All Might, but his body was covered in flames, making it hard to discern their identity. There were also 2 thrones that were empty, as 2 of the people who were presumably supposed to be in them were standing and looking away from her. We've been waiting for you since the 9th, said a white-haired man. Achiko wanted to ask who they were, but she couldn't speak. She looked down and found that half of her body was covered in this weird black mist, including her mouth. You won't be able to speak yet. So just listen. The white-haired man said. It's about time you've started mastering elements of one for all aside from just the power enhancement. We're talking about our quirks, of course, said a bald man wearing black, somewhat baggy clothes, including a jacket, yet no shirt. The one you just used was my quirk. Black Whip. It's a hell of a lot more powerful than it was when I used it, which means it'll be a lot harder to control. Which is why we needed you to reach this level of mastery in order to unlock it. The white-haired man said. If we'd unlocked it for you earlier, then you'd have been unable to use it at all, due to the strain it put on your body. However, with the new threat that's arising, and All Might no longer able to use our power, we need to speed things up. All for One may have been defeated, but what he left behind is no less monstrous, said the only woman among them. I can feel it even now. The agony from All for One's many years of evil has taken form, to wreak vengeance on the world. You and your allies must put those remnants to rest. You're blessed with powerful allies, do your best to keep up with them. The white-haired man said. Achiko Uraraka. XXXXXXXXXXXXXXX. Ah. Achiko woke up again, this time in a bed in the infirmary of the Midoriya Foundation. Achiko. Izuku was standing over her, surprised to see she'd woken up, before quickly shifting to relief. Oh, thank goodness. What happened? Achiko asked, trying to get her bearings. She winced as she pulled herself up, as her body was still sore from the spar. Gamma 2 brought you to the lab for analysis, and a couple hours later you were brought to him, Izuku explained. I already saw what happened, by the way. I'm impressed you managed to get something like that under control so quickly. Me too, Achiko said honestly, as she looked down at her worst. So, what did the lab find? Something about your chaos energy signature has changed, Izuku explained. They said it was like something had been unchained inside of you, or rather inside of One for All. They still need to go over it more to find out anything more detailed. No, I think that confirmed something for me, Achiko said. Izuku, I think I'm gonna need to ask your help a bit more. Chapter 239, Power UPS Part 3. Kiba flexed her hand, clenching and unclenching her fist repeatedly. She'd finally gotten full control over her body again. She could move without any difficulties or weird issues. How are you feeling? Hada asked as he looked down at Kiba in her bed. Good. I can move my body like I used to, although I feel light. Kiba frowned. In fact, her body felt very different. But she couldn't figure out how to describe it. That would be the enhancements that Karaki made, Hada said. We want to run some tests, to see exactly how much stronger you've become. Do you feel like you can take the tests now, or do you want to wait a while? I'll do it, Kiba said, with a determined look on her face. I want to see what they did to me. XXXXXXXXXXXXXX. Kiba was guided to a test chamber, and inside the chamber was Sakio, waiting patiently. Now she was wearing a more extravagant outfit. A black and red dress with a red bow around her neck. A big black witch's hat, again with a red bow on it. A red slit was painted on her forehead, and her hair was now perfectly brushed. "So you're Kiba?" Sakio said, looking Kiba over thoroughly. "People talk about you a lot. As they should. I am the great Kiba, after all." Kiba said proudly, her face turning red from feelings of elation, knowing her family still had her in their minds and hearts. "But who are you? I guess you're a new arrival?" "Technically," Sakio answered. "Sakio is a Grimm. The first sentient Grimm," said Hata over the speakers. "Wait, what?" Kiba asked, her eyes going wide, as she stared at Sakio in awe. Wait. You mean to tell me Yami had a daughter?" "I'm an aunt." "Technically," Sakio answered. "Although my father chose to see me as a sister." "But you still call him father?" Kiba asked, raising an eyebrow. "It just happens." Sakio shrugged. "Now, shall we start with the test?" Sakio is being powered by the negative energy storage we have nearby. And she's even more unkillable than Fu. So don't worry about holding back. Hata said. "Although, I'd appreciate it if you didn't aim for the heart. Her heart getting destroyed makes her regeneration take longer." "Got it." Kiba looked over at Sakio and took a deep breath. "Alright, let's see what we're made of." And then Kiba was promptly covered in a black aura. Ha! Slam! Suddenly Kiba was slammed into a wall by an invisible force. In actuality, it was Sakio making use of telekinesis. Except it wasn't really telekinesis. She just wrapped things up in a negative energy barrier and then started moving them around. Slam! 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 Sakio continued to slam Kiba into the walls, but Kiba wasn't harmed. Kiba moved her arm and immediately broke the barrier that was surrounding her body. Interesting. Sakio frowned. She broke through that barrier so easily. I can't beat her in a battle of strength. Waving her hand, Sakio made 5 Deathstalkers and sent them to Kiba. Kiba punched the one closest to her, and it instantly shattered to pieces, and the wind pressure from her punch pushed the other one back and forced Sakio to put a shield around her. Kiba looked at her fist in shock. "Whoa! Indeed, you are very strong," Sakio said. She dispelled her Deathstalkers and focused her power into her force field while putting her hand behind her back. "It seems a queen is a good match for a witch. I doubt I could fight you so easily in my old form," Kiba admitted, before smirking. "But it seems those villains made a grave mistake and unlocked my true potential." Kiba dashed forward and punched Sakio's barrier, shattering it, only for Sakio to quickly repair it. Smash! 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 Kiba continued to casually smash apart the barrier with only one hand, before deciding to get a bit serious, destroying the barrier with one hand, and punching Sakio in the face with the other. Sakio's head immediately exploded like a watermelon. But that didn't stop her from attacking. She moved the hand that was behind her in front of her, aimed right at Kiba's chest, and unleashed the attack she was charging. Bear! A huge black beam, twice the size of Kiba's body, slammed into her, knocking her back and holding her against the wall as the energy slammed against her. Her hospital gown was immediately destroyed, and Kiba could feel the energy burning her, tearing at her skin and pressing against her bones and organs. But she could also feel something else. Her body was fighting back, even without her having to do anything. Her wounds were fixing themselves before they could even fully form, making it seem at first glance like this powerful attack was doing nothing. Although it did hurt like hell. Kiba grabbed the wall and forced herself to the ground, before attempting to walk through the beam. The beam was made up of all the negative energy Sakio had available to her at the time, which was quite a bit due to the negative energy storage nearby. So even with her enhanced strength, Kiba struggled to walk through the beam. What's worse was that she was getting weaker and weaker at an extraordinary pace, due to the strain of having to struggle against the beam and regenerate the damage. She was using up her blood storage fast. I have to get out of the beam. And so, Kiba jumped up, out of the beam's range and into the air. In response, Sakio just moved the beam up. Oh, Kiba said as the beam quickly started coming up at her. How could she dodge it if she couldn't move in mid-air? At least that's what she thought. Suddenly she felt something bulging in her back, and then a pair of black bat wings sprouted. With an instinctual flap of her wings, she flew to the left, dodging the beam. Ha! Kiba immediately turned her head to look at her new wings. A shocked expression overtakes her features, making her mouth hang open. I can fly? Sakio moved her beam to follow Kiba, but she flew around to avoid it. This is surprisingly easy. Kiba thought as she flew around. She felt some kind of instinct or muscle memory. Like she'd done this before somehow. I can't hit her like this. Sakio thought as she tried to think of ways to attack. Only for her arms to get grabbed by her own shadow. What? Oh. Kiba didn't really know how she did that, she just wanted to stop Sakio from attacking, and another instinct activated in her. As if something was telling her how to use her power, only in a very basic way. The shadow wrapped around Sakio, holding her in place. Let me go. Sakio growled as she struggled against the shadow. I'd say I've won this bout. Kiba laughed confidently. Not yet. Sakio shouted, as she created a force field from her body, and then expanded it, forcing the shadow off of her. Then she flew up, floating in the air using her pseudo-telekinesis. Then she used her power to make copies of herself. Each one started shooting dark beams at Kiba, but she flew through them, taking minimal damage and smashing apart each clone with blinding speed, before landing a blow on the real one, once again destroying her head, and sending her body flying into the wall so hard, it splat. Before Sakio could counter, Kiba rushed at her body and punched right through her stomach. And while Kiba's fist was in her stomach, Sakio grabbed Kiba's face and dug her fingers into Kiba's eyes. Aha! Kiba cried out in pain. She flew back as she held her bleeding eyes. They were rapidly regenerating, but it still hurt like hell. Alright, that's enough. Hada said over the loudspeaker. Test is over. Let's calm down now. XXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXX. A couple days after that test, they got a pretty good idea of Kiba's abilities. It also confirmed what they already knew, Kiba's strength was far too dangerous to let her go back to the house, at least at the moment. Naturally, with the many geniuses that had available to them, a solution to this issue didn't take long to find. Snap! Darn it! Kiba hissed as she broke yet another stress ball. She'd been trying for hours now to control her strength, but to little avail. She was just too strong. The door slid open, and Mike came in, holding a black piece of clothing. Hey Kiba, we've finally managed to finish it. All we need to do is test it. Test what? Kiba asked, having no idea what she was talking about. Oh right. I guess I need to introduce this latest invention. Mike pulled up the outfit, revealing that it was a bull-body, super tight-looking suit. This is the restrictor suit. It's made to restrict your strength, putting you back at a level of power you were before you were altered, without increasing your blood consumption by much. With this, you should be able to control your strength, while also using your other new abilities. Wonderful! Excellent work as always Dr. Kiba said as she took the suit, grinning ear to ear. Quickly she put it on and immediately noticed a difference. Aside from how tight the suit was, her movements felt far heavier, but not enough to hamper her day-to-day activities, or even keep her from fighting. She just felt far more in control of her own strength. Kiba picked up a stress ball and squeezed. And this time, the ball didn't break. She smiled. Truly magnificent. Now I can finally return to my fortress. Aha! We just need to run a few more tests to make absolutely certain you're okay to go back. Mai said. I'm sure they're all waiting to see you. That's right. Kiba jumped up and punched the air. The Queen of Eternal Darkness. It's back. Chapter 240, What's New? Hello, my loyal subjects. Kiba said to her camera. She's back. Lady Kiba, please start making videos again. Lady Kiba must return. I love you, Lady K. Thank you for your patience, my loyal subjects. But I've finally fully recovered. Which means the videos shall return. Kiba announced proudly. But before we do anything else, I must show you how things have changed since I last broadcasted. So come, let me show you how things have developed. Kiba went to leave her room, with Fu following her carrying the camera. But as soon as she opened the door, she was hit in the face by a cream pie. Ah ha 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 ha. Played the laugh track as Ko stood in the doorway with a huge smirk on her face. Oh, dear. Run, new girl. Run. It's just a prank, bro, to calm down. LOL. Kiba wiped most of the pie from her face. You must be that Ko girl I've heard so much about. Credit where credit is due, you've definitely left a memorable first impression. So I suppose I should return the favor. She then grabbed Ko by her sides, took her into her room, and then showered her upside down, headfirst into her small garbage pail. Then she bent the garbage pail, so her head would be stuck. There we go. Kiba dusted her hands and took a wet towel Fu gave her to get the rest of the pie off her, as Ko struggled around, still upside down. Damn. She said, you trash. You get what you get. Prank at your own risk. Alright, now we can go, Kiba said as she finished cleaning up. Onwards. XXXXXXXXXXXXXXX. They arrived at the library and found Seikyo reading a book. She was once again in her witch-like attire and was reading what looked like a young adult fantasy novel. Behold, Yami's ultimate creation, and kind of his daughter, but he calls her a sister, Kiba said as she revealed Seikyo on camera. A mighty and sentient Grimm. Seikyo. What? Yami had a freaking what? Since when could Yami create life? I thought he couldn't make living things. I guess he can make anything. Damn, his quirk is strong. Midoriya is a grandpa now. Ma. They're doing weird shit again. Just think of her as another sister, it makes things easier, Fu said. Kiba. Did you just disturb my reading and introduce me to your viewers? Seikyo said as she placed a bookmark in her book and closed it, before looking up at Kiba and Fu. How could we not? You gave me quite the battle before, so I'd like to work with you more. Kiba said. I suppose that could prove helpful in me learning how to use my abilities. Seikyo shrugged. Fine. I'll appear on your little streams. Do you need me for anything? We're just introducing you, Kiba said. Maybe later we can fight, and we can show them what we're made of. Why do I get the feeling Lady Kiba is hiding something? Fight. 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 I have a feeling this stream is gonna have a climactic end. XXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXX came out. Apologies Kiba, we're currently not available to be streamed. Our work must remain a secret until it is done. Oh god, it's something worse than spiders. Don't be rude. At least when Kiba sucks blood she doesn't make the wound itch for no reason. Probably. Looks like the bugs are sticking together, you know that sounds rude when I say it out loud. Everyone, this is Kano. A new sister and Shiruku's partner. Kiba explained. She's also training to be a hero from what I hear. Of course, she is. Most of the kids here want to be heroes. Probably for the best. Yes, Shiroku mentioned it was a great way to advertise our fashion, Kano said, before looking at the camera. If all of you want to look as fabulous as we do, please visit the Midoriya Foundation online store, under the fan page. If you want a custom order, please give in your name, address, email, phone number, and measurements and pay, then you'll receive an estimate of when your order will arrive. Due to varying circumstances, orders can be delayed. If you have any complaints, please head to our customer service page. Geez. Capitalism strikes again. I respect the hustle. Alright, the advertising is done. I think we're done here. Kiba said. Now, let's move on to the main event. XXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXX. Kiba and Fu were now standing in front of a door, in an extremely small building. And here we are. The most exciting part of our tour. Okay. What the hell could be in a building that small? Maybe it'll be way bigger on the inside like the TARDIS. Maybe it is the TARDIS. Wouldn't surprise me honestly. Kiba and Fu opened the door and inside was a large elevator. They went inside and pushed the down button. The elevator came to life and started bringing them down, underground. A few minutes later, they arrived at their destination, and the doors opened, revealing a seemingly infinite white void. What the fuck? Honestly, I'd be disappointed if it wasn't something insane. Ah yes, of course, they have the void under their property. Of course, they do. What is this? Welcome to the simulation room. Or the sim room. Kiba introduced me. I believe its abilities are best shown, rather than told. Sim room. Take over my stream, and show me a villain attack on the beach. Suddenly, Kiba's stream was no longer being broadcasted via Fu's camera, rather it was being shown on invisible cameras in the room. The room then suddenly shifted and changed, a blue sky hung above them with the sun shining down. The solid ground beneath them was replaced with sand, and an ocean formed in front of them. And just like that, they were on a beach. Then, the most generic-looking villains popped out of the sand, and a big shark-faced villain popped out of the water, surrounding them. What? How? How does that even work? Is that all real? The sim room will make a perfect simulation of almost anything you want, Kiba explained. Room. Change to a city. The sand and water drained away, replaced with roads and concrete, and buildings rose out of the ground until a perfect recreation of a city was made. Change to a volcano. Kiba said. The entire city sunk into the ground turned to hard rock, and a massive volcano emerged from the ground. See, anything, Kiba said. This technology is amazing. I wish I could have one of these so bad. Can someone buy one of these in the Midoriya store? Can I join the Midoriya research branch? Does the UA have one of these? Unfortunately, this place is stupidly expensive. Like there are some countries who couldn't afford one of these. Fu explained we're still working on making the technology less expensive. So for now, it's exclusive to the Midoriya Foundation. That makes sense. Damn it. Why must the rich hog all the good stuff? It probably also uses technology Midoriya doesn't want to get out, so we probably won't see it anytime soon. That sucks. Sad face. Now then. Room. Coliseum. Fu said. The room changed once again, sinking everything into the ground. Then around their feet, a coliseum formed around them, with the two of them at the center. Hey, Kiba. Fu busted out a red vial. Why don't we show them our new power-ups? Fu drank the vial, and a moment later, Fu's body started growing, and Kyosei wrapped around his growing form until Fu was now an all-might-sized monster covered in Kyosei's black goop, with a huge gaping maw with razor-sharp teeth and creepy long red tongue. What the hell was in that vial? Was that Trigger? Did Fu just take a drug? Trigger doesn't look like that, and you have to inject it, not drink it. I don't know what that was. Might concentrate, Fu explained, his voice now deep and monstrous. Made from the might fruit, it can enhance a person's power better than a trigger. But it tears up your body. Lucky for us, that's not a problem. Impressive. But you're a fool if you think you can challenge me. Kiba said, as she cracked her knuckles and wings grew from her back. Since when did she have wings? What the fudge is happening? Behold my quirk awakening. Kiba said proudly. It was a lie, of course, but she couldn't very well tell everyone what had actually happened to her. It would hurt her caretaker's image. And this is just the beginning of my new power. Watch. And take note of my terrible power. Fu shot out dozens of tendrils at Kiba, and Kiba tried to fly around and dodge them, but they were too fast and wrapped all around her. Not bad, Kiba smirked, and then the shadows rose up, turning into razor blades, and cutting the tendrils. But not enough. Okay, this is not from a quirk awakening, what really happened during the hiatus? What are you hiding? She really is the queen of eternal darkness now. Is that multiple quirks? Fu shot out more tendrils, but Kiba formed a shadow sword, and cut them all to ribbons, as she flew towards Fu. When she reached him, she rapidly started cutting Fu's body apart. It would have turned him into bite-sized cubes, but Fu's regeneration was so fast, that as soon as she cut him, his wounds healed, making it look like the sword went through him with no damage at all. Fu grabbed Kiba by the mouth and started inserting some of Kyosei into her. Kiba ripped off Fu's hand and flew back. Fu's hand regrew in less than a second, and Fu smirked. Game over. Kiba felt something crawling around her body, and suddenly she couldn't move. Something was keeping her limbs in place from the inside. Well, what did you do? Normally, once a piece of Kyosei separates from the main body, he can't control it anymore. But thanks to the might extract, we can control any piece of Kyosei, whether it's attached to us or not. Fu explained. If we wanted, we could stop your blood from flowing, and knock you right out. It's our win. Kiba stared at him, in both wonder and bafflement. But after a few moments, she smiled and laughed. Ah ha ha. Finally. It looks like you actually won against me for once. Took you long enough? Although I was holding back, to be fair. Congrats, I guess. Drugs for the win. Well, it's from a fruit, so I guess it's natural. We can't call it cheating since it's not like Kiba's using just her own power either, probably. I guess we don't really know what's going on there. Whatever's going up here, I have a feeling it's something Midoriya doesn't want us to know. Chapter 241, r/Midoriya. See Hupensive 38, so we're all in agreement that the Sky Pirates work for Midoriya, right? Magnets Bayek, oh yeah, definitely. 40 Capital, here come the conspiracy theories. See Hupensive 38, Conspiracy Theory. They somehow snuck onto his heavily guarded land, stole the flying pirate ship he was conveniently making, and that they somehow knew was there. Then they go around attacking Midoriya's enemies. Passive 77, it's pretty obvious. All the corporations they've targeted were proven to be Midoriya's enemies and run by villains. And after those corporations got dissolved, they started plundering the remnants while also dealing with other villainous organizations. They've never been proven to kill anyone, and all the people who lost their jobs because of their antics were either secretly evil and arrested, or conveniently hired by the Midoriya Foundation soon after. And they've never targeted the Midoriya Foundation after stealing the ship. Coolest 555, actually, they just raided a Midoriya Foundation delivery meant for the HPSC, explained the dumbass. See Hupensive 38, he's ordered them to do that, just to keep up appearances. He knows if they don't attack him sometimes, then it'll be suspicious. Hardbreather 888, or, they stole the ship, decided not to attack Midoriya very often to make sure he doesn't prioritize them, attack those guys by coincidence. It wasn't only them, they attacked some unrelated companies, and since they have some semblance of a moral code, they don't kill when they don't need to. Midoriya feels bad for the people who've gotten hurt because of one of his inventions, so he hires people who lost their jobs due to the Sky Pirates. Not everything needs to be some hidden conspiracy about how every rich person is evil. See Hupensive 38, we're not even saying he's evil, he's just had enough of people attacking his fucking house for no other reason than because he's quirkless. And so he decided to go around the law to fight back. And you know what, I don't blame him. Fuck those guys. Soot, I wouldn't go that far. He should let the heroes do their jobs rather than twisting the law because it suits him. Superior 1, well obviously he's not trustworthy, he's quirkless. History shows those bastards will do anything to drag down their betters to make up for them being lacking. See Hupensive 38, okay, can all agree on this. Fuck Superior 1. QT right, Superior 1. Kill yourself. Elsut, okay, I agree the guy is an asshole, but calm down. 22-25 up, see this? Classic inferior behavior. People like you and Midoriya just don't understand that we're just better than you. In fact, Midoriya Izuku is one of the richest and most powerful people on the planet. He helped kill All for One who even All Might had trouble with and could destroy a small nation with the snap of his fingers. You are nothing compared to him. Yell 55, quirkists are deluded. They should be purged. XXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXX Minon 12, it's definitely not a mysterious illness because the Midoriya Foundation can fix that shit in an instant. It's not a quirk awakening because her quirk had nothing to do with wings or controlling shadows. That's just not how a quirk awakening works. Lifehack 356, Experimentation. It has to be. With all the crazy shit Midoriya can do, it wouldn't be surprising if they can give people multiple quirks. Did you hear the rumors about those crystals that can give you multiple quirks? Maybe he put one of those inside her. Quest 777, I don't think Midoriya would do experiments on his own kids. Especially not when volunteers willingly help test his stuff. Volunut 11, if he did augment her body, I am sure the procedure was safe, and tested thoroughly on those volunteers. It just makes sense. Why would all those kids love him so much if he was secretly doing unsafe experiments on them against their will? Lunk 8, but why keep it secret then? Volunut 11, probably to keep people from freaking out. Some people are already getting all whiny about the amount of power the Midoriyas have, so letting them know he can just make people stronger on a whim would make them throw a fit. Might even launch another quirkist attack on him. Shut up 7, wake up sheeple. Midoriya is gathering all the strongest kids around the world, and doing experiments to make them even stronger, so he can have an army of superpowered minions. And of course, they still love him, they're stupid kids. They don't know any better. Midoriya is a scumbag who has to use other people's power because he doesn't have any on his own. Istan M, shut up 7, before the mods kick your ass out. Let me tell you just how wrong you are. First of all, kids aren't stupid. If Midoriya was really doing some messed up stuff to them, then not every single one of them would just accept it. At least one of them would rebel. And here is the most damning piece of evidence that debunks all this nonsense. If Midoriya could do all this crazy shit like give people more quirks, why is he still quirkless? The only reason he has to deal with all this bullshit is because he's quirkless, so if he could, why not just give himself a quirk, announce it, and be done with the whole thing? Because he can't. Dumbass S. CA8, as someone whose mother was cured thanks to Midoriya, I can't fucking stand these dumbass trying to besmirch his good name. Irol, do you really think he cares about you? He only released that damn cure-all so he could make money. It's pretty clear you're the dumbass here. CA8, we actually couldn't afford the cure. But we called the Midoriya Foundation, and they made us a deal. I would work in one of the Midoriya Foundation factories, and a quarter of my paycheck would be taken until I could pay back what I owed. No interest, and we got the cure immediately. And you know what? Both my hours and my pay working for Midoriya are better than my previous job, even taking into account the quarter taken out. So you can go fuck yourself to death, bastard. Irol, you really think he did that out of the kindness of his heart? Look at you. Loyal slave to the Midoriya Foundation. He's doing this shit so people think he's some kind of saint, and he gets more workers out of it. Soon enough he'll conquer the whole damn world and idiots are just letting it happen. Farfluff78, honestly, Midoriya would likely be a better world leader than any of the ones we currently have. So I don't see the problem. Redro43, these quirkists are really fucking annoying. A cancer on society. We should just fucking get rid of them, am I right? BB6, yeah, let's get a purge going on. Midoriya and Lady Kiba shouldn't have to suffer these idiots. Flash R5, I wish Stain would go after those fuckers. That's a real crusade. Bound in Blood, this is seriously the 18th thread I've had to shut down because of shit like this. Can you guys calm the fuck down? XXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXX Who mean 888, you think the sentient robots that could wipe out an entire city in a couple minutes are neat? 4490, yeah, am I the only one who's freaking out about this? The robot overlords have come. RR665, would you all relax? According to the Midoriya Foundation website, their minds don't work differently from ours. It's like being afraid of All Might just because he could destroy half a nation in a few hours. Just because they can, doesn't mean they will. Who mean 888, oh, don't buy that freaking propaganda. I bet everything on that page is either cherry-picked or a flat-out lie. Don't you understand that these corporations will do anything for a profit? Humanity be damned. Oz7, ugh. Stop talking about things you have no idea about. I doubt you're some kind of robotics specialist who can understand how the gammas work. You're just spouting nonsense. Who mean 888, typical corporate bootlicker. Maybe even paid by Midoriya. If anyone thinks Midoriya Izuku is any different from all the other soulless billionaires, you're deluded. 99 Waterhose, you just mad cause you poor. Get good scrub. That will be it for this part. I hope everyone enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like and comment if you want part 45. If you want to hear more from me, subscribe. I hope to see you all in the next one.